Have you ever just, stopped and really looked at your hands? I mean, think about everything they do. They build, they comfort, they write, they create. In this explainer, we're going on a journey to explore the incredible story of the human hand, all the way from ancient art to modern theology, and how it just might be the ultimate reflection of creation itself. So our story starts way back, thousands of years ago, right here, in what's called the Cave of Hands. Now, these aren't just pretty pictures. This is a statement. This was someone, a person just like us, pressing their hand against this rock and saying, "I am here. I exist." It's one of the very first examples of a spiritual impulse being made physical, a universal symbol of our need to leave a mark on the world.
And that desire to make a mark, well, that was just the start. Because across every culture and all through history, the hand has become this incredible symbol for all kinds of meanings.
I mean, just look at this list. It's amazing what our hands can represent, right? They can symbolize power. Think about the hand of Fatima, warding off evil. They're what we use for worship, lifting them in prayer. A hand placed over the heart can mean a promise. We use them for blessing, for creation, for hard labor, for healing. The hand is how we physically show our deepest spiritual ideas and intentions.
Okay, so to really understand this, we need to think metaphorically. Because when ancient texts and art talk about the hand, they don't always mean a literal, physical hand. It's a powerful way of speaking, a way to describe these huge concepts that are kind of hard to put into words. Things like divine power and intervention.
And that brings us to maybe the most powerful metaphor of them all, the hand of God. It's this image that shows up again and again to describe God's direct involvement in our world.
Take this line from the Old Testament, for example. When it talks about God's mighty hand, it's not describing anatomy. It's a metaphor for God's power, for his direct action in history. It's the spiritual will of the divine showing up and making something happen in the physical world.
Early religious artists had a big problem. How in the world do you draw an all-powerful, invisible God? Well, their solution was this, the Manus Dei, which is just Latin for hand of God. This image, a hand reaching down from the clouds, became the perfect visual shorthand. It was a simple, clear way to say, God is here. God is at work in this moment.
So, we've talked about the hand of God as this symbol for divine action. But this is where the story gets really personal, because the focus shifts from God's hand to our own.
It all comes down to this core theological concept called imago Dei, or the image of God. See, the book of Genesis says that while all the other creatures were made after their kind, human beings alone were made after God's kind. We were created in his image, which means we share, in our own limited way, some divine qualities, like reason, morality, and especially creativity.
Now, it's really important to get the difference between two ideas here. Imago Dei is about being. It's our starting point, our very nature. But imitatio Dei, that's about doing. It's the active choice to live out that divine image. You can think of it like this. One is the blueprint, and the other is actually picking up the tools and building according to that blueprint.
And there is no picture, literally no artwork in the world that captures this idea of imago Dei better than Michelangelo's creation of Adam. We all know this one.
Just look closely at the hands. It's absolutely brilliant. Adam's hand is a perfect mirror of God's hand. But look, it's limp. It's lifeless, waiting for that spark. The form is identical, though. Michelangelo is visually screaming the theology at us. We are a reflection of our Creator. So why? Why this mirror image? Well, there's this really beautiful analogy that helps explain it. Think about a glove. A glove is made in the image of a hand for one reason, to contain a hand and allow it to do its work in the world. And in the same way, we are created in God's image to be a vessel for His Spirit, to contain His will and express it here on earth. The spiritual hand of God needs a physical glove to act, and we are that glove. And this idea that we're the glove for God's hand pulls everything together. It connects the hand as a symbol, the hand of God, and the image of God, and it leads to this really powerful conclusion about what we're all here to do. Theologians sometimes use this term created co-creators. And it sounds kind of like a contradiction, right? How can you be both created and a creator? But that's the beautiful paradox. We are absolutely dependent creatures, and yet we were specifically created to be creators ourselves, to use our freedom and our hands to join with God in the ongoing work of creation. You know what this means? It means your work has incredible dignity.
All honest work, whether you're a painter or a plumber, is a holy act. It's an expression of our deepest purpose. Because we are image bearers of a creative God, when we work, we are doing exactly what we were designed for, taking the spiritual, an idea, a feeling, a plan, and using our physical hands to make it real.
So what does this actually look like? Well, a doctor's hands in surgery, they become God's hands of healing. A construction worker's hands laying a foundation, they become God's creating hands. A chef's hands preparing a meal for their family, that's God's hands of nurture. Even a writer's hands typing on a keyboard, they are channeling a spiritual thought into the physical world.
The mystic Hildegard of Bingen put it perfectly. Humankind is full of all creative possibility. It's our calling, it's our vocation to create, to bring something new and good into the world.
So, in the end, from that very first handprint on a cave wall to whatever work you'll do today, our hands have always been the bridge between the spiritual world inside us and the physical world around us. They turn our thoughts into things, they turn intention into action. So that leaves just one last question for all of us. If your hands truly reflect the Creator, what will you create with them?